Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I am talking about Vampirella Blood Invasion by Nancy A. Collins. This is from Dynamite Books. Dynamite is the comic book company that publishes Vampirella comics, along with plenty of other very good books. And they do novels, apparently, now. So, in Blood Invasion by Nancy A. Collins, we start off in the middle of the action. Vampirella's on a mission, and I'm not going to give you all the details. That would be silly. You got to read the book to find out. But she completes this mission. She goes home, where her roommate and partner, Pantha, the werewoman, is, and they chat. Vampirella goes to bed, and we get a dream sequence that essentially gives us Vampirella's origin story. That she's from the planet, Draculon, and she, how she grew up, a little bit about her family, her young love, and then how there's a drought. Draculon is a planet where basically instead of water, there's blood. It rains blood, oceans, rivers of blood. But there's a drought, and they're running out of blood, so a bunch of volunteers are shot out in rockets to try to find another planet. Vampirella lands on Earth, crashes on Earth, and eventually becomes a superhero, for lack of a better term. She and Pantha run sort of a supernatural investigation agency, and they fight monsters. So we get all this in the dream sequence, and then Vampirella is woken up by contact from other people from Draculon. And it turns out they have come to Earth. She was the only survivor of those people that were sent out. And the planet Draculon is done. So the survivors are here for the help of Earthlings, but it turns out it's an invasion. And so Vampirella and Pantha and Vampirella's enemy, Dracula, have to team up, and Dr. Frankenstein is there with some of his creations, and Evilly, not sure if that's how you actually say it, the Queen of Witches, is there, and they have to fight. Basically, Vampirella has to team up with all the people she would normally be fighting to fend off this invasion from her home planet. And that's essentially the nutshell. So, it's Nancy Collins is the author. I'm a fan of her work. I've read, I think, all of the Sonia Blue novels, which is a vampire supernatural-based series. Read some of her other stuff. Can't think of all of it off the top of my head. And she wrote, I have the huge hardcover omnibus of her run on Swamp Thing, which was fantastic. So that's half the reason, maybe even more than half the reason that I decided to pick up this book is because of the author. And I believe she has written Vampirella comic books. So she knows her stuff as far as the character and everything. I did a little research. Apparently, Vampirella has many, many backstories, different conflicting histories and backstories. I like the one that's in here. I don't know if it's considered the official one at this point in time, but I do like it. I like that she's a conflicted character in this story. You know, she's established a life on Earth. I think they say how long she's been on Earth, but I don't recall. Probably like 10 years, maybe more. I don't know. But, she's established this life. She's made friends. She's has a business. She's had loves, and she's had loss. But then her people show up, and her first love shows up. And at first, when she thinks they're there just to ask Earth for help, she's so happy. She's reunited with her first love. She's reunited with her people. She's going to help to save them. but when she realizes what they're actually doing, she... It's not so much, I don't think that she chooses Earth over Draculon. She chooses right over wrong. And it just turns out that the Draculonians are doing what's wrong. So I like that. It gives what could just be a simple comic book character, it gives her some depth. And I like that she has to team up with her enemies. Anytime you can throw in some Dracula and some Frankenstein and these other, kind of over-the-top-ish comic book characters. I'm not familiar with Evil-E at all. As a matter of fact, I tried to Google the character, so I don't know if she's from the comic books or just was created for this novel. Because I couldn't find anything, but I liked that character. I liked the lots of monster action. It's great, and because essentially the Draculons are aliens, there's science fiction elements to it, and so it's a nice mix of science fiction and horror, which it didn't have to be that way because essentially I think since Vampirella's on Earth and it deals with monsters and supernatural, it's generally considered horror. I don't know how often, I have not read a ton of Vampirella comics, and I don't know how often the whole Draculon part comes in. But in here, it does give us a really nice mix of science fiction and horror. So that's, I don't know what else I want to cover here. It's an interesting story, great characters, well written. Asterisk. Hold on. Again, I don't know how it fits into the comic book continuity. There's so many Vampirella comics out there. But as a standalone story, tells you everything you need to know. Great characters, great action, a lot of fun. I gave it, I believe, 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. And now the asterisk comes, I never know if this is something I should mention, because I don't know if anyone cares. I don't know. It doesn't change the story, how good the story is, how much I like the characters, but, and I don't know if it's a Dynamite Books thing, but this book had the most typos I've seen outside of a self-published book. Just tons and tons of typos, incomplete sentences, missing words, which can be jarring when you're reading. It doesn't. Again, it's a great story. It's great characters. It's a great author. This is, again, is this something I should be mentioning? There's something we can talk about in the comments. Do you care about the typos and stuff? Or, again, some missing words, some incomplete sentences. The problem I have with it is that it pulls me out of the story. It's jarring, and sometimes I have to, this is what they meant. Or this word's missing. I believe this is what the sentence should be. It breaks up the flow of my reading. But aside from that, and again, maybe you don't care. Aside from that, I really enjoyed this. There is a second book in this series. I have it. Haven't read it yet, but I do recommend this, unless typos are going to drive you insane. Even if you're not a fan of Vampirella, and you just want some crazy monster comic book style action, pick it up. It's a lot of fun. I'd put it on the same level as the Hellboy novels, or almost any novel that's based on comic book characters or anything, or IPs, intellectual properties. It's a lot of fun. Vampirella, Blood Invasion, Nancy A. Collins, from Dynamite Books. I've got a few other books that they published as well, but this is the one I'm talking about. Enjoy it. Or pick it up, read it, enjoy it, hopefully. There you go. All right, so if you have any Let's see. Is that it? I guess. 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. Let me know what you think about excessive typos in the things you're reading. I know, nobody's perfect. Nothing's perfect. Occasionally, even the best publishers, there are typos. But when it's a lot, does that bother you? Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to follow me on social media, Twitter, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram is EricSmith5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. That's it. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.